That's a big one. And then the issue of all theft comes in that is actually eating up that industry very badly. But let's touch on palliatives, because our conversation is getting so smooth that we are almost moving away from that. Now, specifically, we see that disconnect. The price of fuel went up, affected transportation, movement of food across the country, and there's obviously an hike. Government is talking CNG, which obviously is cheaper to run vehicles. What other human-faced approach do you expect from government now? Or what sort of initiatives are you thinking of? Because for me, impact is very important, so that everyone has a feel of whatever government is doing. What is running through your mind? We've seen things for initiatives focused on youth, the student loan thing, credit core. We've seen graduates that don't have jobs now confirming that they are getting a lot. What more do you think government needs to do that will be focused on getting the people and, of course, making them inclusive in all of the decisions of government?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think this question could possibly occupy our entire interview. The problems with productivity in Nigeria are, to a very large extent, structural. And that means that these are issues, these are features of the economy that are a result of several decisions, political and economic, taken years in the past. So yes, the federal government, through the Ministry of Youth Affairs, has come up with a raft of initiatives meant to provide finance to young people, which is interesting. And that answers the question of economic development and managing your economy. Are you making credit available for entrepreneurs? If you think of an economy, with the four major factors: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship, at least the government is trying, in quotes, to answer that question. But when we look at where that leads to, what types of businesses are these young people into? Are they enough to move the needle in terms of gross domestic product? Are they enough to move income levels to higher points, than Nigeria has seen? In addition to this problem of insufficient capital, there's also the question of land management, and I think this is maybe not really addressed as much as it should. But the president does need to have conversations with the governors, because, as we know, in quotes, the federal government doesn't own any land. State governors hold this land in trust on behalf of their states. And economic activity cannot happen where land tenure systems, where land allocation systems, where land management generally is, inefficient and is very challenging from a bureaucratic perspective. What is the average time it takes to get a C of O, for instance, in any Nigerian state? And if you're hearing 3, 4, 5 months to get a C of O, that will have negative effects on doing business. And these are very critical aspects of, ramping up the structural problems in Nigeria. And even looking at labor, the productivity of labor, what is the quality of, manpower? What is the level of skill? What is the level of capacity? So state governors, we really need to shine the light on state governors this time for this land, at least for the land question, and even for the productivity question, because productivity entails not just human skill, but also technological capacity. And how are entrepreneurs being, how is this technological capacity being developed, whether it be in agriculture, whether it be in light manufacturing, whether it be in heavy manufacturing, which Nigeria does not see enough of? What is the arrangement for the acquisition of equipment, high-level heavy-duty equipment, that can provide, or heavy-duty equipment that, can provide a strong manufacturing base for the country that will really show an improvement in GDP numbers? So it's more than just providing funds for the youth. There are fundamental questions that need to be asked about the nature of economic activity, about the quality of skill, about the role of technology and access to that technology, about the nature and quality of the logistical arrangement in the country. You have hundreds and thousands of kilometers of roads many of which are in states and in local governments. And how well are states attacking the problem of ensuring that there are high quality paved roads in their states, which will enhance, agriculture, which will enhance trade and enhance logistics. So it's really more than just providing funds. I see that as a very simplistic approach to the problem. These are still, like I said, structural problems, even from a political perspective, because the pressure that needs to go to governors really is not there. The state houses of assembly that should act as oversight mechanisms, on the activities of the state executives is really missing from Nigeria's political discourse, because we have, challenges in the relationship between state houses of assembly and governors. In some respects, some people have claimed that their relationship is not a check and balance relationship, but the legislatures are merely extensions of the state governors. And that type of politics cannot create the prosperity that Nigeria needs to see. So in summary, I will say that, the Joint Planning Board needs to have very, very rigorous conversations where state governors and the president, commit to a joint plan, to address these structural problems in Nigeria.
Viola Kwaga, Head Open Government and Institutional Partnership Organization Budget Foundation. Thank you so much for being on the program this afternoon. We really appreciate this. We don't take it for granted. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.